So welcome back again. Now, guys, as you have seen, what exactly we have already input the simple story data. Now, I want now we start working with the grid lines, guys. Now, from your architectural plans, guys, you see that now we have all these grid lines. Now we need to know how exactly to have them, right? So I'm gonna actually first of all delete this one because I want these grid distances, right? So these are the distances of the grid distance that we're going to use for this design. So let me go ahead and come here on ETABS, and this is a template. So what exactly we're going to do here, I'm not going to use this. You see here, guys, it says uniform grid spacing. It says that this is uniform, number of grid on X direction 4, and then the spacing in grid. So this is a spacing. Now, if you have, like, for example, the spacing between, you see, for example, here, like from grid A to B is 3.5, the same is 3.5 is, but you see now here, guys, it's different. So here we don't have uniform grid dimension. So this is custom, right? So what we're going to use is we are going to come to use the custom grid spacing. So we're going to click here, and you're going to specify data for grid lines, and then you're going to edit grid data. So you're going to click here, which is very most important. So once you click there, it's going to bring you here now, right? So here is where now, guys, now we need now to put our grid distances, right? So now we have the display grid data as ordinate, but you're going to use display grid as spacing, right? So I'm not going to touch anything here. So if you have like one or two grids, so this is a grid, so it's actually grid one. Then you have the reference point, and all that. So this is the bubble size. It's actually the grid lines. You see the grid lines here have this kind of a circle, right? So that's the size that actually we have been told here. But I think you can go ahead and actually use 1000. But even if you leave it like that, it won't have a lot of effect on the same. So we're going to use that and this one. So you're not going to use grid as around. We're going to use it grid data as spacing, because now we want to use the spacing distances, right? Now, so what I'm going to do is that now you can see now, guys, I have A all the way to G, right? So that is on the along the y-axis, all on the x direction, right? So I'm going now to come here on the grid, and I'm going to add more here this way exactly that you add. So A, E, F, G, right? So those are our grids. So they are all the way 1 to G. Then you can also check, guys, ours is actually 1 to 6. So we're going to come on this side again, and on the y grid data. So the y grid data, guys, as you can see, is all the information, the grid data on this part. So this is the y grid data, which is actually means along the x-axis, all the numbers are arranged, in the direction the y-axis, right? So the numerical numbers, right? So here you see we have all the way to 4, so we need to add 2, 5, 6, because we have 1 is to you see our grid is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, then A, B, C, D, E, F, G, right? So that's how exactly, guys, you input your grids. Now, what about now the grid distance? So here, guys, you can see now we have grid A. So our grid A, guys, will have what distance? So you're going to come here and have the distance. So here you see it's 3.5. So you're going to come here and input 3.5 meters, you see? So it's going to, but what about if I light this one, I say, I put this at the top, you see? It's going to convert. So it's going to convert from inches to, let's say, for example, I have, what inches? Let's say how many inches? 25. And then you say, let's say feet, actually. Let's say 3 feet, 3.3 feet, you see? So that will be around 1 meter, you see? So it's going to convert. So if you want to have inches, you put that, the apostrophe or the double, whatever. So here I'm going now to use meters, 3.5. So by default, it's actually in meters. You can see here, absolute distance. So 3.5. The next distance here, guys, as you can see, is I have 1.8. So here is 1.8. The second one is 2.25, I think. Let me check again. Yeah, 2.25. So I'm on this one. So this 2.3. So here I have 2.3. Then this one, I think I have 1.55 as I had seen. Yeah, then here we have 2.4, guys. So F here, we have 2.4, guys. To 2.4. Now, guys, remember that the last one, the last grid need to be 0. So that's something you need to remember, that the last one will be 0, meaning that you don't have any distance extending from there, right? Now, we're going to come here now on the y-axis, and then we're going to start with, I think, 1.3. So here you're going to have 1.3. So I'm starting from down. Then here you have 4.1. Then you have 3. So 4.1, we have 1.2, 1.6, 1.2. So here you have 1.2. So you have to remember to put 1.2. Then I think it's 1.6. And this is 1.2. And then the last one, actually, guys, as we said, it's 0, right? So you can, so this is our grid line. We have already now input our grid, and that is now how you say okay, for example. So once you say okay, you can say here grids only, and then you can say okay. So now you're going to be brought to this page where exactly now you're going to have two split screen. Exactly now we have the window 1 and the window 2. The window 1 is actually will be the floor plan, and then the window 2 will show us the plan view, the 3D, right? So you see we have the 3D, and also on this side now we have the floor plan, right? So which is very most important for this particular type of design. So that's how exactly that you input your grid, and it's awesome. So let's say, for example, guys, that you have input a data. For example, here, let's say you wanted this to be 4 meters. So how exactly can you be able to change that? What exactly you need to do is actually you can come here and modify grid data, right? So you can come here and you're gonna modify, but I think the time is actually kind of over, so let's do that in our next tutorial. And that's how exactly that, guys, you can be able to input your grid data and everything. So ensure that you can be able to confirm your measurement. You see 1.5, and what you need to do is to have the measurement correct, because otherwise you might have a lot of problem when it comes to designing this kind of structure. So see you on the next one. I'm Jamal Bira.